So today, yan ang focus natin. And at the end of the session, we should be able to determine or to understand itong mga objectives natin. So number 1, how are the outputs of a joint process classified? Number 2, what management decisions must be made before beginning a joint process? And how is the joint cost of production allocated to joint products? So mamaya na po natin i-define yung mga terms na yan. And then later on, we will determine how we account for the byproducts. So ano ba yung joint products? Ano ba yung byproducts na tinutukoy natin? So joint process is a single process in which one product cannot be manufactured without producing the others. Parang sinabi natin na out of a single process, 2 or more products yung nagagawa natin. So, good example ay yung industry ng agriculture, industry ng food, chemicals, ayan. Kaya mga examples natin, dito iikot sa mga industries na yan. And industries that produce both first quality and factory seconds merchandise in a single operation. So, yan po yung scope ng ating topic for tonight. And one way to illustrate yung joint process output is itong baka na to. Yung baka na yan, meron siyang 615 pounds na carcass, which is 61.5% of live na weight. Now, itong baka na to, kapag nagkatay tayo ng baka, syempre, yung laman ng baka, yung meat niya for that could be used for steak, that could be used for roasts, that could also be used for ground beef. Parang sinabi rito na 432 pounds of the retail beef diyan mapupunta. So pwede natin ibenta. These are what we call the joint products. Ito yung major product natin na kapag kinatay natin yung baka, expected talaga yung meat niya, yan talaga yung pinaka-ibebenta natin. Ayan, ito pala yung yung entire na weight ng ating baka. Now, of course, kapag kinatay mo yung baka, may ibang parts ng baka na mapapakinabangan pa natin. However, hindi naman talaga yung lahat ng parts ng baka would be the joint products or major product. Sometimes we call it as major products. Now, ano ba yung tinatawag natin na byproducts? Beef byproducts and scrap, yan, i-define na rin natin kung ano yung scrap. Ito yung mga examples niyan. Yung kanyang fats and fatty acids. Ginagamit pala yung fats ng baka and fatty acids sa paggawa ng mga explosives. Ginagamit din para makagawa ng chewing gum. So imagine mga chewing gum natin, made up of mga fats and fatty acids ng baka. Ginagamit din sa paggawa ng paint, pwede rin sa dog food, at saka paggawa ng tires. Yan yung mga gamit natin ng mga fats and fatty acids of the beef. At yung intestines, di ba? Hindi naman nasasayang yung mga intestines na yan. Iba kinakain talaga nila yung intestines ng baka. And ginagamit talaga yung intestines ng baka for sausage casings. At ginagamit pala sa paggawa ng instrument strings. So imagine dun pala nagagaling yung instrument strings natin, no? Sa pati sa surgical na mga uses and tennis racket strings. So yun pala yung uses sa mga intestines. Usually, iba tinatapon na yung intestines, pero yung pala pwede pa natin mapakinabangan. Hide and hair, ginagawang clothing. Saddles, insulation, ginagawa ring luggage, at brushes ng mga artists. Tapos yung bones, horns, and hooves, ginagamit sa paggawa ng combs and toothbrush. Uy, doon pala gawa yung toothbrush natin. Ginagawa din yan na dog biscuits, ginagamit sa piano keys, ice cream, ginagamit. And then shampoo and conditioner. So yun pala yung mga uses sa mga ibang parts ng baka. Sa halip na itapon mo, ito pa yung pwede natin mapakinabangan. Imagine even yung pupo ng baka, that could be used as methane gas and urea fertilizer. Ayan. So halos walang tapon pala itong baka na to. Yun nga lang, mapapansin mo, yung price or yung sales value ng mga ito magkakaiba. And generally, yung sales value ng joint products natin ay talagang malaki when you compare to the byproducts. Di ba mura lang naman yung intestines, yung hair, yung bones, etc. So that is one way of differentiating a joint product with the byproduct. So yung market value, significant yung value ng joint products, yung byproducts natin with minimal value, pero yung scrap natin, no value at all. Yan. So let's be more technical. So joint cost, that could be the material, labor, overhead. Di ba pag nagkatay ka ng baka, the materials could be the baka, the labor would be yung sweldo nung nagkakatay, and overhead could be kung yan ay slaughterhouse ng mga baka, yung renta mo ng space, etc. So ibig sabihin, out of the joint process or single process, you are going to incur this joint costs, materials, labor, and overhead. And what do we do with the materials, labor, and overhead? Hindi naman natin alam magkano kaya yung sweldo ng tao na i-allocate natin sa laman ng baka. Magkano i-allocate natin sa mga ginamit natin sa giniling. Magkano labor yung i-allocate natin sa ginawa natin na para panggawa ng steak. So ibig sabihin, hindi natin alam yan. That's why our purpose or objective, one of the objectives for tonight is to allocate yung joint cost natin dito sa mga primary or joint products or major products natin. Using, ito po yung dalawa na categories ng mga allocation methods. It's either you use the physical measure. So in other words, kung ilan na lang, timbangan na lang tayo, ilang baka, ilang laman ba yan, ilang bang ginawa pang ground beef. So based sa timbang na lang yung allocation o kaya based sa number of units na na-produce. Iba naman, they base the allocation sa market value. So, iba ka sa ibentahan kapag ang purpose ay ground beef, iba yung kapag purong laman, iba yung pag may halong buto. So, magkakaiba ng value. So, sabi dito sa pangalawa, we base on the sales value or market value, yung allocation ng joint cost natin. Okay? And then, interpret costs allocated to joint products carefully. So, yung product profitability is determined largely by the allocation method. So possible na magkaiba-iba ng allocation method, pero tingnan natin ano ba talagang method yung pinaka-applicable dun sa ating nature ng product natin. Okay. So some key terms. So joint process products. So we have the joint products, di ba? Sabi na natin, ito yung primary outputs or major products natin out of a joint process. Sabi rito, substantial revenue generating ability. So mas malaki talaga yung market value ng mga primary outputs. Ang byproducts naman, these are incidental output of a joint process. So sometimes you don't expect the byproduct. Sometimes bigla na lang may sumusulpot. So eventually you will discover na kapag gumagawa ka nito, meron palang ganitong byproducts, etc. By the way, even yung dugo ng baka, di ba, nabebenta rin. Ayan. So, but with ang kanyang sales value, syempre, compared sa joint products, mas mababa. Pero definitely, mas mataas siya kesa sa scrap. Ayun. Ang scrap po, sabi ko kanina, walang value kasi sa totoo lang, halos walang value talaga siya, yung scrap natin. Very insignificant na yung value niyan. So, pag dinispose mo, do not expect na merong significant amount kang makukuha. But definitely, kapag waste na, walang sales value, tapon na po yan talaga. So, inisip ko sa baka, ano ba yung talagang tapon na? Yung kuko niya, yung paa niya, hindi ko alam. Baka meron pa rin gamit yung mga yan. So, basta ang idea, pag waste na, wala na talagang value at all. Kahit na minimal value, wala rin talaga. Alright. So, cost at various stages of production. We have this, dapat unahin ko yung split off point, no? Split off point kasi, once natapos na yung joint process, that's the time na, kaya nga split off, dun mo na ma-identify yung mga joint products. Mag-i-split na sila literally, or you can identify na nga yung mga products. Tapos, ang separate cost na sinasabi natin, Kapag yung mga joint products natin, ipaprocess pa natin further, yung additional processing cost na tinatawag natin is what we refer to as the separate cost. Sometimes we also call this as identifiable cost. Kasi you can identify clearly kaninong product tong cost na to. Sa joint kasi hindi mo alam sama-sama na lahat ng cost. Magkano kay A, magkano kay B, magkano kay C. Pero pag separate cost, alam mo na ang cost na to ay para kay A lang. Ang cost na to ay para kay B lang. Ang cost na to ay para kay C lang, and so on. Okay. Split off. Joint costs are allocated to joint products. And that is the best point na talagang yung joint cost natin ay madi-divide natin among the joint products. Joint costs are sunk costs. Ibig sabihin, na-incur na natin, so hindi na natin mababalik. So ito na yung mga joint products natin. So sunk cost na yan, meaning also, hindi na natin magagamit yan sa mga decision natin sa susunod because, hindi na siya relevant sa mga decisions natin sa susunod because whatever happens, na-incur na yung joint cost na yan. Whether i-process mo siya further or hindi, since na-incur na yung joint cost na yan, it will not really matter anymore in our decision. Joint costs may be reduced by the sales value of byproducts. Oops, dito magkakaklo ka na ng kahit papano kung paano ba talaga ina-account yung mga byproducts. So sabi niya dito, may be reduced. Hindi palagi, depende po kung ano yung pag-account natin sa byproducts. Pero sabi niya, whatever joint cost na makompute mo, yung sales value or yung proceeds mo, pag nabenta mo yung byproducts mo, that would reduce the joint cost to be allocated to the joint products. Okay. So, the question is to process or not to process. Hindi pa po ito yung to process further. So, we are going to decide before the joint process is started. So, number one, will revenues exceed total costs? So, syempre, kapag hindi, huwag mo munang ituloy yung joint process natin. Pangalawa, so that means revenue from sale of joint process outputs compared sa mga costs tulad ng joint cost. Processing costs after split off. So, selling costs. Mga costs to sell natin. So, if you think that the revenue would really exceed yung ating costs, that's the time that you decide to process. Ayan. So, just an overview. So, we have here steam and then the single production process. So, mag-i-split joint product 1, joint product 2. Oops, makikita mo nandito lang yung byproduct. So, hindi siya kasama sa mga primary or major products natin. Alright. Itong steam natin, this is an output with 0 sales value. So, hindi na po siya kasama sa maa-allocatean. Even the byproducts, hindi po tayo nag-allocate ng ngayon pa lang, ng joint cost sa mga byproducts. Lalong hindi po tayo nag-allocate sa mga wastes natin. Okay? So, but why do we allocate joint cost? Number one, that is required for GAAP and taxation purposes. Number two, computation of inventoriable costs and cost of goods sold. And that is for financial accounting and tax reporting as well. That would also be used for internal analysis of divisional profitability. Or kahit na sabihin natin, segment reporting or mismong product, yung performance mismo ng product pwede nating i-account ng mabuti. So baka mayroong mga products na hindi naman na talaga profitable, so hindi na natin ibebenta as is. So we might think of ways baka pwede natin i-process further to make it more saleable. And that will give us more profit. Mga ganong decisions. And cost-based contracting and insurance settlements. And that is required for rate and price regulations. Yun yung reasons why we allocate yung joint costs. Ayan. And joint cost allocation method, sabi ko natin kanina, we have the market-based and the physical measure. Pag market-based tayo, depende po sa given natin at depende sa pinapagamit ng examiner kung ang gagamitin natin ay sales value at split of point. Meaning, possible if ever you are going to sell yung ating products, once na ma-identify na natin yung joint products natin, pwede na silang mabenta at split of point. Okay, net realizable value, that is simply the sales value minus the cost to sell, di ba? Yun yung ating NRV. And sometimes, yung ating products, ipaprocess natin further. So, ang ginagawa natin, yung sales value, final sales value, ima-minus natin yung APC. Anong APC? Additional Processing Cost minus cost to sell to arrive at your NRV. Usually, itong SV minus CTS, kapag at split of point, no, minus the cost to sell. Pero ito naman, final sales value na. Ibig sabihin, pre-process natin further, ima-minus natin yung additional processing cost. Ima-minus natin yung cost to sell, and that would give you the NRV. Ito naman, number 3, constant gross margin percentage or NRV. Ibig sabihin, ina-assume natin na lahat ng products natin ay merong constant na gross margin. So we are going to illustrate later on how to use each of these methods. Physical measures, pwede po na we allocate the joint cost using the tangible attributes of the product, such as ilang pounds ba yan, ilang gallons ba yan, ilang barrels ba yan, or ilang units ba yung mga yan. So depende po. Alright? So, physical measure method allocates joint costs to joint products on the basis of the relative weight, volume, or other physical measure at the split off point of total production of the products. May I request yung ating mga nag-record to please pause for a while? Pause lang. Paki-pause po sa Ayan, NRV method naman, we allocate the joint cost to joint products on the basis of relative NRV or net realizable value of a total production of the joint cost. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina na ang NRV natin ay final sales value minus the separable cost. Ano yung separable cost? Additional processing cost. Iba pang tawag sa kanya, identifiable cost. May iba pang tawag sa kanya, incremental cost. So possible na ma-encounter natin yung mga terms na yan. So basta ang idea niya, additional processing cost. Lahat ng yan. Okay? So kung meron pang cost to sell, just in case na sasabihin, meron pang additional na cost to distribute, may commission, etc. So i-deduct din po natin yung mga cost na yan. Constant gross margin NRV method, sabi natin, although na-mention ko rin kanina, that we allocate joint costs to joint products in a way that the overall gross margin percentage is identical for the individual products. So pare-parehas ang application natin ng GP rate sa mga products na yan. And joint costs are calculated as a residual amount. Mamaya marirealize natin paano nangyari as a residual amount. Iba kasi yung computation natin kapag constant gross margin approach yung ginamit natin. Okay? Sell as is or process further. Ano tong part na to? A decision whether to sell a joint product at split of point or to process it further and sell it in a more refined form. Gagawin natin yan because we expect that we're going to maximize the profits of the business. Ito yung single process. Nagkaroon ng product A, B, and C. Itong A na to, kapag yan ay saleable at split of point, ibig sabihin, pwede mo na siya ibenta. Yun yung kasama sa desisyon na sell as is or process further. Kasi optional na kung ipaprocess further mo para maging product D, to make it more special or more refined. So, basta dapat it would maximize the profit. Punta tayo kay product B. Si product B, hindi saleable at split of point. Ibig sabihin, required po siya to be processed further. At saka talaga mabebenta mo si product B. So, ibig sabihin, hindi kasali sa decision yung Hindi kasama sa usaping sell as is or process further yung product B kasi nga required siya to be processed further. Kasi dito ang tanong, ibebenta mo ba as is o pa-process mo further? Walang sell as is dito because you cannot sell yung mga hindi pa tapos na product. So kung si C, saleable at split off point, ibig sabihin, pasok din siya sa decision whether to sell as is or process further para maging product E. So yun. Again, hindi applicable kay B, applicable kay A at saka kay C, yung decision to sell as is or process further. So we have several examples later. Oy, ayan, meron lang natabunan ng mga terms. So one way to do that is to do the incremental or differential approach. So aalamin na lang natin ano yung mga nadagdag na kita. So incremental revenue, kapag mas malaki sa nadagdag na gastos or incremental cost, ibig sabihin mas okay na sa atin na i-process natin further. Otherwise, kung yan ay baliktad, sell as is. Kung yan ay equal, kahit ano, i-process mo further or ibenta mo as is, that would give you the same profit. Opportunity cost approach. If there are benefits that could be foregone from choosing one alternative over the other, we just consider the opportunity cost. Kasama na din po yan kasi dapat mabebenta mo na siya outside, ganito na kinikita mo, kaso ang ginawa mo, pre-process mo further. So usually contribution margin yung pinag-uusapan natin dyan. But the third one is the total project approach. So total na kasama na yung mga sunk cost. Pero both options parehas sa may sunk cost kasi nga total ang usapan natin dito, hindi incremental lang. So kung ano yung mas mababang kung ano yung mas malaking benefit natin to process further ba or to sell as is, yun yung magiging choice natin. Okay? So meron tayong three approaches. But ang pinakamadali dyan ay yung kauna-unahan, incremental or differential approach lang. At saka pag sobrang busy ng management, syempre mas gusto niya makita yung mga items lang na that would be relevant in their decisions. Ayan. Sell as is or process further. Halimbawa, ito yung pandesal. And you want the pandesal na mabenta into a special pandesal. Nag-iba lang yung shape, naging special na. Ang pandesal ngayon nabebenta ng magkano? 2 pesos ata. Pero if you want to make it special, at least pwede mo siya ibenta ng 5 pesos. Pero ang pandesal, para maging special, hindi magiging special yan on its own. Dapat meron kang idagdag. Possible magdagdag ka ng materials dyan like hotdog or cheese or ano ba pwede natin idagdag sa pandesal para maging special. So kunwari nilagyan natin ng cheese. Pisong cheese, baka gakurot lang yan. So gawin natin na 2 pesos. Parang cheese pandesal, no? Hindi, syempre, may labor yan. Yung sweldo nung, hindi mapupunta yung cheese on its own sa pandesal. So, meron tayong DL. Sabihin natin piso. Syempre, gagamit ka pa na kung ano-ano. Kaya may overhead, sabihin na natin na 0.5. Overall, ang nadagdag na cost sa atin to make your pandesal special is 3.5. Pero tingnan nyo po, yung incremental revenue natin mula 2 pesos, naging 5 pesos, 3 pesos lang. Incremental po, di ba? Now, ano yung incremental cost natin? Incremental cost natin, ito pong nadagdag, 3.5. Ngayon, lugi po tayo ng 50 cents. Kaya, ang sagot natin dito, ano bebenta natin? Pandesal ba? Or special pandesal? Ano ibebenta natin? Pandesal or special pandesal? Ang ibenta mo na lang ay pandesal. Kasi pag nagbenta ka ng special pandesal, that would reduce your profit by 0.5 per unit. Let's talk about 10,000 pieces of pandesal. So meaning 5,000 pesos yung lugi mo kapag ang binenta mo ay special pandesal. Okay? Your profit would be reduced by 5,000. Kaya ang ibenta na lang natin ay yung pandesal. Or halimbawa, gusto mo talagang mag-come up ng special pandesal. Ano yung minimum price na dapat na i-charge mo sa special pandesal? So i-charge mo siya ng, di ba, 2 pesos na dati. Nagkaroon na incremental cost ng 3.5. So dapat 5.5. I-add mo yung additional processing cost at the minimum. In that way, ang incremental revenue mo ay 3.5 incremental revenue. Incremental revenue. Ang incremental cost mo ay magkano? 3.5 din. So bawi lang. So ibig sabihin, either you process further or sell as is, that would give you the same impact in your profit. So ano pipiliin natin? Kahit alin na. Diyan na papasok yung mga, lalo, yung mga qualitative information na una, may supplier ka ba ng cheese? Siyempre, siguro naman kasi may cheese na may ibang mga products mo. Pero pangalawa, meron ba talagang bibili ng special pandesal? Nandun ka ba sa location na maraming mahilig sa special pandesal or they can afford the special pandesal? Or nasa location ka na talagang gusto nila na ang presyo ng pandesal ay mura lang talaga, like 2 pesos. So depende po yan. Depende na po sa management kung ano pipiliin nila to sell as is or process further. But definitely, kapag mas malaki ang incremental revenue, process further ang suggestion natin. Pero pag mas malaki ang incremental cost, benta mo na lang as is. Alright, so let's continue. So yan, so we are going to proceed with the problems. So the brand corporation manufactures 2 products out of a joint process, so Scout and Andro. So the joint or common costs incurred are 400,000 pesos. That's the joint cost, okay? For standard production run that generates 70,000 pounds of Scout and 30,000 pounds of Sandro. So Scout sells for 9 pesos per pound and Andro sells for 7 pesos per pound. So first scenario, ang tanong, if there are no additional processing costs incurred after the split of point, the amount of joint cost of each product run allocated to Scout on a physical quantity basis is blank. Kumbaga, itong joint cost natin 400,000, hindi naman natin alam exactly magkano kay Scout, magkano kay Andro. So we will just estimate kung magkano yung joint cost na ma-allocate sa kanila. Pero ang sabi sa number 1, ang gamitin natin ay physical quantity basis. Sabi sa number 2, no additional processing cost, meaning at split of point, mabibenta na natin yan. So the amount of joint cost of each production run allocated to Andro on a sales value at split of basis. So sales value naman ang gagamitin natin. Okay. Sabi sa number 3, additional processing cost. Ibig sabihin, we will process further. So meron tayong processing cost kay Scout, meron tayong processing cost na additional for Andro. So ang tanong ulit, magkano yung joint cost allocated using the physical quantity basis? So number 4, ganun din. Pero ang gamit natin ay NRV. Sa number 5, ganun din. Pero ang gamit natin ay constant gross margin approach. So in this problem, gamitin natin yung sinuggest natin kanina na iba't ibang allocation basis. Okay. Ayan, so ito po yung problem number 1. So problem number 1. Ayan, so we have here the products. Usually I just create a table. We have here the products S and A. So ang weight natin, we have ilan ba kay Scout? Kay Scout, we have 70,000. 30,000 kay Andro. So sabi lang, alamin lang natin kung anong basis. And then make sure na una mo ilagay yung basis natin, so 100,000. Or just make sure na mailagay mo dito sa table natin basis natin so that whatever joint cost that we have, we can just allocate based on that. So ito na po yung physical quantity natin. So 100,000 yung total. Ang joint cost natin ay 400,000. So what do? We just allocate the joint cost ng 400,000 based on the weight of Scout and Andro. So ilan ang mapupunta kay, or magkano mapupunta kay Scout? So that would be 400,000 times 70,000 over 100,000, so, or 70%. That is 280,000 pesos. For Andro, that would be 400,000 times 30 over 100. So that would be 120,000. So yun na yung joint cost allocated based on the quantity basis. Okay? So, pag tinanong sa exam naman, hindi na, alam ko hanggang dito lang yung tanong, kaya lang minsan tinatanong sa exam, magkano yung unit cost? If wala namang process, hindi naman ipa-process further, the joint cost is already the total manufacturing cost or yung total cost na ng products natin. Therefore, to compute for the unit cost, ang gagawin mo lang, the total cost will be divided by the weight. So 280 over 70, so that would be 4 per, ano nga yung weight natin? Per pound. Okay? Tapos si Andro, 120 or over 30, that would be 4 pesos per pound as well. Okay? Pag tinanong din sa exam, magkano ang gross profit per unit? Magkano ba yung SPU natin? Or selling price per unit? For Scout, that would be 9. For Andro, that would be 7. So ang GPU natin, gross profit per unit, that would be 5 for Scout, and that would be 3 for Andro. Dinagdagan lang natin yung tanong because the question could actually go hanggang dun sa sales, hanggang sa income, etc. Ayan. So, quantity, physical quantity basis. Let's go to number 2. So sa number 2, ang gamit naman natin ay sales value at split off. So we have Scout, or pwedeng S na lang, and then Andro. Okay? So ang basis natin ay sales value at split off point. Ilagay na rin muna natin yung weight ng ating product. So that would be 70,000 kasi gagamitin natin siya. And then 30,000 for Andro. Total weight, 100,000. Pero establish the basis. Sales value daw. Sales value at split off point. Magkano po ba? 9 kay Scout, 7 kay Andro. Ginawa natin, isang unit cost ay unit selling price at saka total. 70 times 9 is 630,000. Ayan. 7 times 30,000, that would be 210,000. So ang total sales value, na-establish na natin yung magiging basis natin. Total sales value ay 840,000. Ngayon, joint cost na yung itatabi natin once na-establish mo na yung basis natin. So in that way, ang joint cost natin ay 400,000 pa rin. So ang gagawin na po natin, allocate natin based on the sales value at SOP. So 400,000 times 630 over 840. So that would be the joint cost allocated to Scout, and that is 300,000. Ayan. So magkano ma-allocate kay Andro? So that would be 400,000 times 210 over 840. So the answer is 100,000. So yan na yung joint cost allocated to Scout and Andro respectively. 300,000 and 100,000. Okay. Baka itanong lang uli, magkano unit cost natin? So that would be 300,000 over 70,000. So the answer is 4.29. Yan ang unit cost natin. Magkano unit cost ni Andro? 100,000 over 30,000. So that would be 3.33. So yun yung ating unit cost for Andro. Okay, so let's go to problem number 3. Question number 3. Ayan. If additional processing costs beyond the split of point R, 1 and 2.333, ibig sabihin lang yan, dire-diretso, per pound for Andro, the amount of joint costs of each production run allocated to Andro on a physical quantity basis is how much? So gawin natin. So we have S, we have A. S and A na lang. So physical quantity, so weight naman po yung given sa atin dito. So we have 70,000 again. And 30,000 for Andro. Total, 100,000. Okay? Now, ang sabi naman po dito, physical. So ito na po mismo. So joint cost po natin, based on the physical, 400,000. Kung mapapansin mo, halos kamukha siya nung number 1 natin. So selling Scout rather. So 70 over 100, multiply natin sa 400,000. So that would be 280,000. And then for Andro, 400,000 times 30 over 100, that is 120,000. Kapareho ng sagot natin sa number 1. Pero pag tinanong po yung unit cost, Anong gagawin natin? Remember, meron po tayong meron tayong additional processing cost na magkano? Piso kay Scout, 2.33 dire-diretso kay Andro. So ang total additional processing cost for S, that would be 70,000. For A, for Andro, 2.33333 and so on times 30,000, that is also 70,000. So ang additional processing cost natin lahat-lahat ay 140,000. Kaya pag tinanong ang unit cost, we have to add yung joint cost and additional processing cost. Kasi di ba, para matapos yung product, you have to process further. So in that case, ang total na na-incur natin for S, that would be 280 plus 70, 350,000. Di ba? And then for A, 120 and 70,000, 190,000. So ang total cost natin ay 540,000. Tinatanong ang unit cost. So ang gagawin lang, 350 divided by 70, that is magkano po? 5 pesos per pound. Magkano yung unit cost ni Andro? 190 divided by 30. That is 6.33. Yan yung unit cost. Doon lang nagkaiba yung question number 1. Balikan na lang natin. Question number 1. Ang unit cost nito, dito na natapos sa joint cost. Kasi no additional processing cost. So yung joint cost dito, siya na yung total cost ng product natin. Pero punta tayo sa number 3. May additional processing cost. So therefore, whatever it is na additional processing cost, i-add natin sa joint cost to arrive at the total cost. Ayan. Let's now go to number 4. So this time, magagamitin natin ay net realizable value basis. So same problem. So we have products S and product A. So we have the weight here, 70,000 and 30,000. Total, 100,000. Net realizable value ang kailangan natin. So kailangan natin yung sales value. So wala naman sinabi. So therefore, yan na mismo yung sales value natin na final, yung 9 and 7. So therefore, sales value natin is 630,000. Ito naman ay 210,000. So total sales value ay 840,000. So what do we do next? Di ba net realizable value? That would be the final sales value. Ima-minus natin yung alin? Yung additional processing cost. At ang additional processing cost natin ay piso kay Scout and 2.333333 kay Andro. So therefore, ang additional processing cost natin ay 70,000 kay Scout and 70,000 also kay Andro. Ngayon, to get the NRV, ang ginagawa natin, ito minus ito. So as if dinadala natin pabalik sa split of point yung basis natin. So 630 minus 70, that would be 560,000. Tapos ang NRV naman ni Andro, 210 minus 70, that is 140,000. Ayan. So total NRV, di ba ito yung basis, total na natin. So that would be 700,000. Tapos yung basis na yan, itabi mo na yung i-allocate natin na 400,000. Ayan. So magkano ang joint cost ng Sandro, napagsama ka na, ng Scout. So that would be 400,000 times 560 over 700. And the answer is 320,000. And then for Andro, 400,000 times 140 over 70. So that 140 over 700 rather. So that would be 80,000. So yan na yung joint cost natin. Okay? Paano pag tinanong unit cost? Hindi pa po joint cost ang pinakabasehan natin. Tandaan, pinassess natin to further. So therefore, kailangan makuha natin total cost by adding the joint cost and your additional processing cost. So ang total cost natin for Scout is 320 plus 70. So that would be 390,000. At ang total cost natin for Andro, that would be 80 plus 70, 150,000. So ang total cost natin ay 540,000. Saan galing yun? Di ba total additional processing cost ay 140, tapos ang total joint cost natin ay 400. So ang total cost talaga natin ay 540,000. Ayan. So magkano po ang unit cost natin kay Scout? That would be 390 divided by 70. So magkano kay Scout? 5.57. Magkano kay Andro? 150,000 divided by 30,000. So the answer is 5 pesos per pound. Yun yung unit cost natin. Although ang tanong lang naman sa problem is the joint cost allocated. But syempre nga, sabi ko nga, hanggang unit cost ay pwedeng itanong sa exam or pwedeng selling price. May markup ka. And so on. Okay, so that would be for number 4. Now, let's go to number 5. Sa number 5 naman, ang gagamitin po natin ay constant gross margin percentage. Nrv Method. Okay. So for number 5, siyempre simulan ulit natin sa ating mga products. We have S and Andro. Scout and Andro. Okay. So weight. So that would be 70,000 pounds and 30,000 pounds. Pag constant margin percentage, constant gross margin percentage, magkano ba yung total sales natin? Di ba? 9 pesos kay Scout. Ilan ba kay Scout? 70,000. So ito ay 630,000 pesos, di ba? Magkano kay Andro? 7 times. Ilan ba binibenta kay Andro? 30,000. So therefore, 210,000 to. Magkano total sales natin? That is amounting to 840,000. Ayan. So total sales natin ay 840,000. Magkano total cost natin? Di ba sabi natin, ang cost natin ay kapag pinaprocess further. Sabi dito, we are going to assume the same cost information in number 4. So number 4 natin, if we go back, ito ay pinaprocess further. Kaya naman, ang total cost natin ay pinagsamang joint cost at saka additional processing cost. Ayan. So magkano ba yung joint cost natin? Sinabi na 400,000. Na magkano yung additional processing cost natin? Di ba? Ang additional processing cost, ito na lang. Oops, sorry. Yan. Additional processing cost natin would be 70,000 kay Scout. Magkano? Piso. Plus 30,000 kay Andro. Magkano? 2.333 and so on. Lumalabas, ang additional processing cost ay 140,000. Kaya naman, kung ang joint cost naman natin ay 400,000, therefore, 540,000 yung ating total cost. Ayan. So, yan yung lalagay natin dito na 540,000. Kaya naman, ang gross profit natin or gross margin is 300,000. Ayan. So ano ang sabi natin? Constant gross margin percentage. So ang GP percentage natin is equal to 300 over 840, which is 35.71%. Yun yung GP rate natin. So i-apply natin na si S, si Scout at saka si Andro ay parehas lang ng gross margin. So cost kasi yung pinag-uusapan natin dito, cost yung kino-compute natin. So magkano yung sales natin dito muna? Ito ay 630,000. Ito po. Ito ay 210,000. Ayan. Ngayon, cost ang pinag-uusapan natin. Kaya naman kung ang GP percent mo ay 35.71, so ang cost ratio mo is 100% minus the GP percentage. So that would be 64.29%. Or simply 540 over 840. So we assume na yung cost ratio natin na 64.29%, parehas siya for all the products. Kaya naman, ang total cost mo in that case is 630 times 64.29%. Magkano yung total cost natin? That is 405,627. Ni-round off ko na lang po. And yung 210,000 times 64.29, that is 135,009. Yan yung total cost natin. Sa bawat sa bawat product natin kay Scout at saka kay Andro. Since ito na yung total cost natin, if you remember yung sabi natin kanina, kapag constant gross margin percentage method ang ginagamit natin, residual amount po yung joint cost. Paano ginagawa yun? Ima-minus natin yung additional processing cost. Pabaligtad po. Di ba 70,000 kay S, ito po yun. Tapos 70,000 din kay Andro. So ito po 'yon. Ayan. Or para mas maayos ang ating solution, so that would be piso and 2.33. Ayan, so this is 70,000. Ito rin po ay 70,000. Kaya ang joint cost natin ay residual. Total cost minus the APC. So that would be magkano dito? 335,627. Ito naman ay 65,009. So ang total joint cost natin ay 400,636. Ayan. Oops, kung mapapansin nyo, meron tayong butal or difference na 636 pesos. That is just due to rounding off. Meron lang tayong difference due to rounding off. Pero pag in Excel file mo to or dire-diretso sa calculator, wala po magiging difference. Pero since sa ground off tayo dito sa 35.71, yung ating GP rate, tas 64.29 yung ating cost ratio, nagkaroon po tayo ng konting difference. Ayan. So for problem number 1, ito po yung last na item. So I think we have a question here. So check po muna natin kung ano yung question. Ayan. Okay. 405,027 ata, sir. Hindi 405,627. 027 lang. Okay. Tapos yung isa 405. Dalawa po nagsabi sa akin, baka naman may po nga naman. Kasi ako, hindi ako nag-round off, so dire-diretso ata. So anyways, recheck natin ha. So 630,000 times 0.6429. Oo nga naman, this is 0.027. Control E. Ito po, 0 daw ito. So ito rin magiging 0. Ayan, 405,027, 027. So, ibig sabihin, ang sobra lang talaga natin sa solution natin ay 36 pesos lang. Okay. Thank you po sa pag-raise ng correction natin. So, yung difference sa 36 pesos is just due to rounding off. So, that would be okay. Tingnan niyo po huli natin na-compute yung joint cost kasi nga sabi natin residual amount yung joint cost kapag constant margin approach. Kasi dito ang ginagawa natin from sales, kunin muna natin yung total cost by multiplying yung cost ratio na nakuha natin dito. Okay? Tapos, ima-minus natin yung additional processing cost to get your joint cost. Ayan. If you have question, ilagay lang po sa chat box natin so that we can entertain anytime. Oops, kung wala question, we will now proceed sa pag-account for byproducts. So we have two methods for accounting for byproducts. We have production method and the sales method. Sa libro, iba lang ng konti tawag pero parehas po talaga siya. Recognizes byproduct in the financial statements at the time production is completed. So once na lumitaw si byproduct, i-account na po natin yung byproduct. The NRV from the byproduct produced is offset against the cost of the main product. Ibig sabihin, yung joint cost natin, ima-minus natin yung proceeds natin or possible proceeds natin dito sa production ng byproducts natin kapag under the production method. Pero kapag sales method po tayo, we are going to recognize or recognizes no byproduct inventory, but instead, we recognize only sales at the time of sales. So, ibig sabihin, kung kailan lang mabenta, saka lang po natin siya i-recognize. So, ibig sabihin lang po nun, yung joint cost natin will just be the same. Ano po ang impact nito sa mga kinompute natin in the previous na mga problems? Sa lahat po ng sinolve natin sa mga naunang problems na to, ang effect po niya, pag sales method ang gamit, parehas lang po, wala kang babaguhin sa computation mo. Kung kailan lang mabenta, tsaka mo lang i-record yung sales mo ng byproducts. Pero kapag production method po ang gagamitin natin, sinabi sa exam na i-deduct, ibig sabihin, yung joint cost natin, mamaminosan kung magkano man yung proceeds natin ng byproducts. At wala pong ma-allocate na joint cost papunta sa byproduct. What does it mean? Balik lang po tayo ng konti. Magkano joint cost natin dito? 400,000, right? Kung ang proceeds natin sa byproduct ay 10,000 pesos, ima-minus lang natin 10,000 pesos, and then 390,000 pesos, ito na lang yung amount ng joint cost na i-allocate natin. Ibig sabihin, ito yung ilalagay natin dito. Pag pumunta ka sa ibang problem, instead of 400,000, 390,000, and then everything is just the same. Magkamukha lang ng procedure. Ang pinagbago lang niyan sa accounting for byproducts, kapag production method, bawasan mo lang daw yung joint cost mo. Pero pag sales method, wala kang gagalawin sa joint cost mo. Kasi ang recording or accounting for byproduct is at the time of sales kapag sales method. Sometimes they call it Nrv method. Sometimes they call the sales method as the RV method or realizable value method. Yan. And just to emphasize, halos sinabi ko na rin pala in the previous slide. So production method, conceptually correct in that it is consistent with the matching principles. Oo nga naman, kung kailan na-produce, dun mo i-recognize yung byproducts. Yan. Number 2, it reduces the cost of manufacturing the main or joint products. Kaya sabi natin, JC or joint cost minus the proceeds of the byproduct. Thereby better matching the revenue and expenses from selling the main product. Number 3, it is appropriate when the company is positive that they can sell the byproduct at the expected selling price. Kung positive sila at sa tingin nila ay mabebenta talaga itong byproduct na to. Ayan. And I'll check muna yung question before I proceed to the next slide. Yeah. Sir, yung joint cost kasama sa TMC po ba? Total manufacturing cost? Okay. So may nagtanong lang po kung yung joint cost ba kasama sa total manufacturing cost. The answer is yes. Okay. So total manufacturing cost natin, singit lang po natin to total manufacturing cost. Kapag hindi ipaprocess further, ibebenta na at split off point, yung joint cost na mismo yung total manufacturing cost. Pero pag pre-process mo further, ang total manufacturing cost ay joint cost plus additional processing cost. And to get the unit cost, ito na mismo yung joint cost divided by the number of units. Pero kapag pre-process further, yung entire amount ng joint cost plus APC, additional processing cost, divided by the number of units. Okay? So, I hope nasagot ko yung tanong. Naitago na lang natin sa pangalang EV. Hindi ko na sabihin ko sino. Anyways, going back. So, sa byproducts ulit tayo. So, production method, na pag-usapan na natin na the company is positive that they can sell the product at the expected selling price. Pero sales method naman po tayo. Mas simple siya kasi kung kailan lang sa mabenta, tsaka mo lang siya i-recognize. The reason is because the byproduct is immaterial, yung amount niyan. Pero syempre, pag matching ang pinag-uusapan, si production method yung okay. Pero yun nga, number 2 sa sales method, it permits the managers to manage reported earnings by timing when they sell the byproduct. Hindi kapag na-produce lang. Kasi iniisip din dito, baka mamaya magbago yung amount ng yung selling price ng byproduct, so baka magkaroon pala adjustments. And number 3, sales method is appropriate if either the disposition of the byproduct is unsure or the selling price is unknown, or if the amount is so negligible as to make it economically infeasible. Baka naman nag-a-accept pa tayo ng panahon na pag-account niyan, hindi naman, negligible naman pala yung amount niyan. Okay? So, sa exam, it's either sasabihin mismo kung production or sales method, sasabihin niya kung NRV or RV method, or minsan sasabihin sa exam na recognize at the time of sales. So, ibig sabihin, sales method or RV method tayo. O kaya, recognize at the time of production. Ibig sabihin, production method tayo or NRV method. Ibig sabihin lang, yung joint cost mo, bawasan mo ng net proceeds ng byproducts mo. Pero palatandaan, pag sales method or RV, parang deadmine mo na yun sa problem. So pag nag-allocate ka, hindi mo siya papansinin. Kasi hindi mo siya i-minus. Why? Kasi nga, i-account mo lang siya kapag nabenta na. So yun. Sige. Gagawin po natin yan in the succeeding na problems. Okay, this is just an illustration ng byproducts. Okay, so we have here the joint cost na 250,000. We have the timber and then we process that. And then from the timber, magkakaroon ng fine grade lumber and the wood chips. And then that would happen, that would be identified at split off point. So yun. So sobrang makikita mo kung gaano ka immaterial yung sa wood chips. So 4,000 cubic feet. Ito po yung isang example on how you're going to show sa income statement natin yung kapag production method ang inadapt or pag sales method yung inadapt natin. Okay. Tingnan lang po mabuti. Production method po muna tayo. Dito muna tayo mag-focus. So, ang revenue, 240,000. 240,000 yung sales natin. Cost of goods sold, 250,000 ang manufacture mo. Minus 4,000. Galing po yan kasi $1 per cubic feet yung byproduct natin. So, ima-minus po natin. Okay? Net manufacturing cost is 246,000. Pero, puntahan na natin si sales method. Pagdating dito, wala kang ni-recognize dito. Okay? So, wala kang minus. So, deduct main product inventory, 49,200 dito sa ating under the production method. May note po siya kung ano ibig sabihin sa letter A. Yan po ay yung 10,000 over 50,000, multiply natin ang net manufacturing cost. So that would be 246,000 times 10 over 50. So that is 49,200. Dito po. Na-reduce po kasi. Pero samantalang dito, siya na po mismo yun. Yung 250,000 times 10 over 500. So 50,000 po. Okay, so ang gross margin natin is 196,800, pero sa sales method, 200,000. Ay, cost of goods sold pala, gross margin agad. And then the gross margin is the difference between the revenue and your cost of goods sold. So 43,200, 41,200. So may difference po sila. Pero pagdating po dito, yung main product po, yung inventory natin, 49,200. 50,000 kapag sales method. Hindi po kasi tayo nagre-recognize sa inventory ng byproduct, kaya 0 po dito at ito ay $2,800. So pinakita lang natin difference on how it is being shown in the in our income statement. Oops, pansinin po to. Last na. 1,200. Saan galing yung 1,200? Byproduct. So pag binenta yung byproduct, that's the only time that it will be recognized in your income statement. Kasi po, 1,200 cubic feet were sold at $1 per cubic feet. So, ganoon po. Doon lang nagkaroon ng sales. Pero kung wala rin nabenta, so wala rin po itong part na yan. Okay. May question po. Ayan. All right. So, do we have a break ng 5 minutes or before we proceed sa problems? Sige, let's have a 5-minute break. So may I request yung nagre-record to please pause the recording for a while. Thank you. So going back, meron lang pong question dito na, sir, saan po galing yung 10,000 over 50,000? Okay. So balikan po natin. Dito po sa 10,000 over 50,000. I hope you can see. Kasi po, ang revenues natin ito po, 40,000 yung nabenta. 50,000 yung ating na-produce. Diba? Balik tayo. Ito. 50,000 po yung na-produce na fine grade na lumber. So, 40,000 yung nabenta. Ang naiwan po ay 10,000 units para sa ating ending inventory. Okay po? Kaya po nagkaroon ng 10 over 50,000 para makuha lang natin yung cost ng ending inventory. Mamaya po may mga mas maayos na examples po tayo. This is just a presentation pa lang sa sa income statement. Okay? And sir, how to differentiate yung byproduct at saka yung scrap? Ayan. Okay. Sa tunay na buhay, makikita mo kasi yung difference sa sales value at saka sa itsura din minsan. May mga scrap, makikita mo kasi yung byproduct, pwede pong mabenta na mas mahal ng konti kaysa sa mga scrap. Pero parehas kasi silang saleable ng minimal market value, mas mataas lang kay byproducts. Pero sa exams natin, sasabihin po kung byproduct to or scrap. And usually, ang focus natin dito, kaya nga ang topic natin is accounting for byproducts. Nasa byproducts lang. So na-mention lang na yung scrap, talagang mas mura pa siya. Minimal na yung cost ni or yung possible proceeds kay byproducts, mas mura pa lalo yung scrap. Tapos yung waste, wala na talagang value at all. So pagdating sa exam, i-mention po natin kung ito ay byproduct or scrap. But definitely the focus is allocation for joint costs to the major products and the accounting for byproducts. Ayan. So before we proceed with some more problems, can I check kung meron pa po tayong ibang mga tanong? Ayan. So far wala, but then again, ilagay po sa chat box kung may tanong po tayo. So I hope you were able to answer yung ating handout. Kaya-kaya nyo naman po yan. So we can compare kung parehas po tayong sagot. Para kung magkaiba tayong sagot, we can immediately answer here or raise here kung ano yung naging difference natin dalawa. Okay. So, sabi rito, use all possible methods to allocate joint costs. So, inuna ko na yung physical measure. Sabi dito also na Gems Company manufactures 4 products. G, E, M, tapos may byproduct S. So walang scrap na kasama sa problem natin. So the production costs totaled 600,000. So ito na yung joint cost natin, which is composed of 250,000 materials, 150,000 labor, and 200,000 overhead. Naka-breakdown lang, pero ang kailangan lang naman talaga natin dito ay yung 200,000. The process yielded 20,000 units of GG. G lang po yan, GG na. 12,000 of E, and then 18,000 units of M, and 2,500 units of S. So products G, E, M, and S weigh 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 4.2 pounds, and 1 pound respectively. Sabi po dito, the sales value for each of product G is 33, E is 35, M is 40, S is 4 pesos. Yung ating byproduct. Unahin po natin yung, di ba, makaka-influence or makaka-apekto yung proceeds ng byproduct if and only if Nrv ang method natin sa byproducts. Sa byproducts, pero kapag RV po tayo or sales method, hindi po yan makaka-apekto. Unahin po natin yung sales method na ang gagamitin natin sa byproduct. So in other words, walang magbabago sa computation natin. So how will it look like? So number one, using the physical measure, so we have the products here na G, E, and M. Take note, hindi natin isasama si S. G, E, and M lang. And then, weight po, units muna. Sometimes sa exam, sasabihin naman kung units or weighted units or weight ang gagamitin. Pero this time, hindi naman niya sinabi, so gamitin na lang natin yung units muna. So sa units, we have 20,000 for G, we have 12,000 for M, and then 18,000 for 12,000 for E and 18,000 for M. Ayan. Total units ay 50,000. So therefore, that would be the basis for the allocation of joint cost. Ang joint cost, magkano allocate natin joint cost? And the same amount, 600,000. Why? Kasi nga, sales method. Therefore, hindi natin i-recognize yung proceeds ng S kasi produce pa lang siya, hindi pa siya nabibenta. So therefore, ito po ay, magkano joint cost natin? 600,000. So how do we allocate? Based on the number of units. So that would be 600,000 times 20 over 50. So 240,000. For E, 600,000 times 12 over 50. So that would be 144,000. For M, 600 times 18 over 50. That is 216,000. So yan po yung joint cost na allocate natin pag ang ginamit natin ay units. Tapos yung ating byproduct, ang ginamit muna natin ay sales method. Okay? What if weighted units ang gamit natin? So ang product natin, so we have G, E, and M. So ang units natin, pasensya na dun sa narinig yung tuta sa background ko. But anyways, going back. So we have 20,000, 12,000, and 18,000. Ayan. So ang weight po niyan, yung iba kasi weighted units ang gamit. So we have 3 pounds, 5 pounds, and 4.2 pounds. Again, hindi natin pinansin yung S kasi walang joint cost na maa-allocate sa byproduct. Okay? So weighted units natin ay 60,000. 60,000 din dito. And 75,600. Ayan. So ang total weighted units natin ay 195,600. Nandito na yung basis, agad-agad, joint cost na ilagay mo. Once na na-establish mo na yung basis, lagay mo na yung joint cost natin or allocate na natin. So 600,000, how do we allocate? So 600 times 60 over 195,600, that's 184,049. Ayan. O, parehas naman silang 60,000. Lagay na natin. And then this one, 600,000 times 75,600 over 195,600. So that's 231,902 if we add 600,000. So that is how we allocate kapag physical measure. Tapos, ang accounting for byproduct is using sales value method o sales method. Alright? Ayan. Paano kapag physical measure pa rin, pero production method po ang gagamitin natin for byproduct. Kapag ganyan po, alamin natin magkano ba yung sales value ng byproduct, which is ay ba't E? Si S. Di ba? Sales value niya, magkano ba per unit? 4 pesos. 4 times. Magkano ba, ilang units ba ang S? 2,000. 500 units. So times 2,500 units, so that would be amounting to 10,000. Therefore, ang joint cost mo would be reduced by 10,000, so that would be 600,000 minus 10,000. So ang i-allocate natin na joint cost would only be 590,000. Tapos, yung proseso natin ng pag-allocate, parehas na lang kung ano yung natutunan natin kanina. So we have product G, product E, and product M. Okay? These are your products. And then, physical units, ilang units si G, ilang units si E, ilang units si M. That's 20,000, that's 12,000, and 18,000. Total, 50,000. Ito na yung basis. So, idikit mo na yung kailangan mo i-allocate. Magkano joint cost na i-allocate mo? 590,000. Yun lang yung tanging difference ng accounting for byproducts kapag sales value at production method. Kasi dito pa lang, ima-minus mo na yung 10,000. So, magkano ma-allocate na joint cost kay G? So, that would be 590,000 times 20 over 50. So magkano po 'yon? So that would be 236,000. Ayan. For E, 590 times 12 over 50. So that's 141,600. Then for M, 590 times 18 over 50. So that's 212,400. Ayan. So that would be your joint cost. So nakuha po, yun lang yung tanging difference niya. Gawin natin yung weighted units. So we have the products G, E, and M. So ang weight po natin, ilagay na po natin 3, 5, and 4.2. Ang weighted units natin, multiply natin 3 by 20,000. So that would be 60,000. 60,000 din po ito kasi 5 times 12,000 and then 80 times 4.2, that's 75,600. So total weighted units po natin ay total weighted units ay ilan to? 195,600. Ayan. So allocate na natin. Magkano i-allocate natin na joint cost? That is 590,000. Ayun. So 590 times 60 over 195,600, that's 180,982. Pare sila, 180,982. Magkano kay M? 590 times 75,600 over 195,600. So that would be 228,037. So medyo may difference lang due to rounding off. Okay, parang lagpas ng piso yung total natin. So that would be okay. Piso lang naman yon. So that is how we allocate using physical measure. That is how we allocate the joint cost. And considering yung byproducts already. Okay, so I hope nakita nyo yung tanging difference kung saan lang pumasok yung role ng byproducts natin. Next po tayo. This time, we'll make use of the sales value method. So, pero unahin muna natin yung byproduct natin uli. Ang accounting natin dito ay sales method. Class, wait lang baka mamaya. Hindi po ulit sales value method ang ginagamit natin. Sales method na to automatically, hindi po ganun Ang ginawa natin for allocation of joint cost, sales value. Pero ano yung accounting for byproducts? Nagkataon lang na sales method. Okay? Tapos yung isa mamaya, production method naman. So kapag sales method ang gagamitin natin, so that would be, wait lang. Ayan. So product G, E, and M. Sales method ng byproduct natin. So wala tayong gagawin. Walang gagawin Walang deduct na proceeds sa 600,000. So the joint cost will still be 600,000. So ilang units meron tayo? So that would be 20,000, 12,000, and 18,000. Total units, 50,000. Yan. Sales value. So we need to get the sales value of your product. So we have 33 kg, 35 kg, and 40 km. So sales value per unit, kunin natin or itabi natin yung sales value natin in total. Okay, so 33 times 20,000, so that would be 660,000. Magkano to? 12 times 35, that is 420,000. 18 times 40, that's 720,000. If we get the total is 1,800,000. Ayan. Anong tawag natin sa method? Sales value method. Sales value na po ito. So therefore, ito na mismo yung basis. Itabi mo na yung joint cost. Ang joint cost natin ay 600,000. So how do we allocate? 600,000 times 660 over 1/8. So the answer is 220,000. 600 times 420 over 1/8. So that is 140,000. And lastly, 600 times 720 over 1/8. So that would be 240,000. So that is how we allocate the joint cost using the sales value method. Okay? So if you have question, ilagay sa chat box. So sales method po, sales value method sa joint cost, sales method sa byproduct. This time, sales value sa joint cost, tapos production method sa byproduct. Okay? Pag production method sa byproduct, anong gagawin ulit natin? Magkano ang proceeds na byproduct ni S? So that would be 4 pesos times ilang units? 25. So therefore, ito ay 10,000 pesos. By the way, class, what if ang nangyari dito ay mabebenta siya ng 4 pero madidispose ng 5 pesos? Parang negative 1 pa. Ano mangyayari dito sa ating joint cost? So 4, it's negative 1. Baka lang po makakita sa exam. Negative 1 po ang contribution ng S times 2.5. So lumalabas na negative 2.5. Ano mangyayari sa joint cost natin? In that case, madadagdag yung sa joint cost natin yan. Kapag positive po, may net proceeds tayo sa byproduct natin, mamaminus sa joint cost. Pero pag may dagdag na loss because of the byproduct, kapag dinispose mo talaga yon, ang mangyayari po, madadagdag po siya sa joint cost natin. Okay, so tanggalin po natin to, baka makalito sa computation natin. Ayan. So therefore, if that's the proceeds for S, magkano yung joint cost natin? So that would be 600,000 minus the 10,000 na proceeds ng S. Actually, yun ay inventory po na byproduct natin. Okay, so that would be 590,000. That is the amount of joint cost to be allocated. So we have G, E, and M. So these are your products. And then we have 20,000, we have 12,000, we have 18,000. Yan yung units natin. And then sales value natin, again 33, 35, and 40. So ang sales value natin ay 660. This is 300, it's 420 pala. 420,000. And this is 720. Actually yung kanina. So ang total na sales value, and dito na tayo, 1.8 million. Tapos ang joint cost to be allocated, hindi na 600, 590,000 lang. Okay, I hope na-gets na natin to. So 590 times 660 over 1/8, so that would be 216,333. And then for letter E, that's 590,000 times 420 over 1/8, that's 137,667. Okay, and then 590 times 720 over 1/8, that would result to 236,000. Ayan, so mukhang sakto naman yung joint cost natin. 590,000. Alright, so any questions so far? Ilagay lang sa chat box. So habang walang question, we will just proceed with problem number 3. Okay? So, use all possible methods then to allocate the joint cost. Pero ito, medyo may konting ano lang, may konting something lang na hindi napaka-straight to the point na ito yung units na gagamitin natin. So, tingnan natin. Total market value of gallons sold ng gasoline, heating oils, and kerosene, these are your major products. Okay, market value of per gallon is 10, 6, and 7 respectively. Ito po ay yung nabenta natin, yung sales natin, ito yung selling price per unit. May sinabi rito, beginning inventory ng gallons, in gallons, 10 to 75, 20,000, and 25,000 respectively. Para saan to? Itong beginning inventory ng gallons na to. Ang units po, babalik lang po ako sa nauna, ang units po na nandito ay production. Ibig sabihin, yielded in the process, produced. Pag bumalik tayo dito, yung inventory dito ay beginning. Tapos, yung nandito na pwede mo makuha, 400,000 over 10, 40,000 yung nabenta mo rito. Tapos dito, 285,000 divided by 6, ilan na nabenta mo? It's 47,600. Tapos dito, ilan na nabenta mo? That's 365,400 over 7. That's 52,200. Ibig sabihin, plus, ang inventory, ang gallons na naka-reflect sa atin dito ay yung sold at saka beginning inventory. But we are using yung produced. Kaya you have to check. Sold to, ito yung beginning. Sabi rito sa ating paragraph below, that the above table was used by the 316 company for allocating 450 of joint costs incurred in October 2018 for Department A. During the month, the company had no ending inventory. So beginning plus produce minus sold equals ending is 0. So ibig sabihin, yung produce natin could be sold minus beginning. Di ba? Yung produce is sold minus beginning. So no additional processing costs were incurred. The 316 company uses a process cost system. Sinabi lang naman niya, pero hindi pa kayo solve using the process cost. Kung baga, ito na yung result nun. So, what do we do here? Let's just use G for gasoline, and then H for heating oils, and K for kerosene. So, ang gallons na kino-consider natin dito ay ilan? For G, it's not 40,000, and it's not 10 to 75, but the difference of the two. And that is 29,725. Again, because we are only in our table, we are using the number of units or gallons produced. Klaro po tayo dun sana, ha? Okay. So going back, for H, that would be 47,000 minus 20,000. So that's 27,600. Ayan. For K, it's 52,200 minus 25,000. It's 27,200. So ang total gallons na pinag-uusapan lang natin na produced, lagay natin dito, produced in gallons to, ha? Ayan. It's 84,525. Ayan, gallons. Pakimute po yung mga ano natin, ha? Nakakagulat po ang konti. Salamat po. Then going back. So, physical measure naman na pinag-uusapan. Ito na yung gallons natin na produce. So, ito na mismo yung basis natin na allocation. Joint cost po na pinag-uusapan magkano? 450,000 pesos. So, when we try to allocate this time, so that would be 450 times 29,725 over 84,525. So, the answer is 158,252. And then 450 times 27,600 over 84,525, that would be 146,939. Tapos 450,000 times 27,200 over 84,525, so that would be 144,809. So yan na po yung joint cost natin allocated sa bawat product natin. Ang naging challenge lang po, possible na maging error sa mga estudyante, itong produced na quantity natin in terms of in gallons. So mag-ingat po hindi po yung units sold, hindi po yung beginning inventory, it's the number of units or gallons produced. Okay? Ayan. So, let's use sales value method naman. So we have G, H, and K. So alam na natin yung gallons dito produce. Diba? So we have 29,725. We have 27,600 and 27,200. Again, the total is 84,525. And that is, these figures were solved in the previous slide pa Ngayon, ang tinatanong po ay using the sales value method. So from here, ano ba yung sales value natin? We have 10, 6, and 7. Sir, bakit hindi ito na yung gamitin natin? No, kasi sales value ng produce po ang pinag-uusapan. Ito ay sales value ng mga sold natin. Lang, baka po mayroong ano. Okay. Wait lang po Nako, meron po tayong medyo naduling daw. Angat lang po ako ng konti. Ayan. 47,600 ang nakalagay. Naku po, mukhang naduling po. Ito daw po ay 47,500. Malabo ng ating calculator. Okay, so i-recompute lang po natin yung problem 3 using physical measure. Thank you po for the corrections. Control E. Ito po ay 47,500. Naku, next time wag po mahiya na magsabi agad kasi natatapos na yung problem, tsaka pa lang natin na napapansin na meron pa lang naduling na number. Okay, 52,200. Tama naman po yung iba. So I hope tama naman po. Pag meron pong irregularities, please let me know. So 47,500 yan. So ibig sabihin, itong H natin, minus 20,000. So that would be, Control E. This should be 27,500, right? So ang total natin is 84,425. Let's solve again. So it's 29,725 plus 27,500 plus 27,200. So 84,425, that's correct. So yung joint cost natin medyo magbabago po. Hindi pala ba yun siya magbabago? Magbabago talaga siya. Ayan, Control P. So 450,000 times 29,725 divided by 84,425. Answer? It's isa pa. 450,000 times 29,725 divided by 27,500. So that would be mali po ako na napindot. 450,000 times 29,725 divided by 84,425. Ayan, dinahandaan ko na. It's 158,439. So I hope pare-parehas tayo. So 27,500 times 450,000 divided by 84,425. Answer, 146,580. Ayan, and lastly, 27,200 times 450,000 divided by 84,425. Ayan, it's 144,981. 144,981. Pag chinek natin, sakto naman na 450,000. Ayan. So thank you very much sa pag-correct po. Dun po sa nag-mention, naduling po tayo. Akala natin, hindi pala natin, no? Ako lang pala. Akala ko 6 yun, 5 pala yun. Alright. So, yan yung joint cost natin after using the physical measure. Okay. Again, thank you very much. So, dito sa pangalawa, so magbabago dito. It should be 27,500. Ayan. So, ang sales value natin with this one would be, akin na to, 297,000 250. But for the second one, it's 27,500 times 6. So that would be 165,000. Ayan. And then for the last one, it's 27,200 times 7, it's 190,400. Okay. So 297,250 plus 165,000 plus 190,400. So that would be 652,650. Ito na po yung sales value na pagbabasihan po natin ng ating allocation and joint cost. So ang joint cost po natin ay total ay 450,000. So we will allocate accordingly. So 450,000 times 297,250 divided by 652,650. So the answer is 204. Oops, saan galing yung 6? Ayan. So it's 204,953. So the next one is 450,000 times 165,000 divided by 652,650. So the answer is, okay, double check, 113,767. And 190,400 times 450,000 divided by 652,650. So the answer is 131,280. So 131,280 plus 113,767 plus 204,953. So the answer is 449. Okay, the answer is 449. 99, bakit 997 sa akin? Okay, it's 450,000, saktong-sakto po yung ating joint cost. Alright, so thank you again. So, questions so far? Ayun, basta importante, ang pinaka parang panggulo ng konti ng problem na to, yung computation ng ating number of gallons. So, it's 84,425. Ayan. Alright, so let's proceed to problem number 4. Number 3 pa rin, pero constant margin approach yung gagamitin natin. So how do we make use of the constant margin approach? Ano ulit sabi natin? Sales minus the total cost. We have the GP. From the GP, kunin natin yung cost ratio. Paano kunin yung cost ratio? 1 minus GP. Magkano yung sales natin? Pero teka lang, yung sales na may kinalaman, hindi po itong sales na to. Yung sales nung produce na gallons natin. Okay? So dito muna tayo. So we have gasoline, we have the heating oils, we have the kerosene. Okay? So from here, ang ating, wala po tayong joint cost, no? Wala tayong additional processing cost. Okay, pag wala pong additional processing cost incurred, hindi po natin na kailangan gamitin yung constant margin approach. Pero we will just show why hindi na siya kailangan gamitin kasi pare-pares lang din lalabas. But we will just show kasi nasimula naman na natin. Okay, ilang units to? 29,725. It's 27,500. It's 27,200. Okay, so sales value daw po ang gagamitin natin. Kunin muna natin sales value niyan. So that would be 10, 6, and 7. So it's 297, 250. Magkano tong isa? Silip tayo, 165,000. Magkano isa? Silip tayo, 190,400. And magkano yung total natin? Silip ulit, 652, 650. Ayan. So yan yung sales na ilalagay natin. 652, 650. Magkano yung total cost natin? 450,000. Magkano yung GP natin? So that would be 652 to 50 minus 450. It's 202, 650. Tapos ano yung GP margin natin? GP margin is 202, 650 divided by 652,650. Lumalabas ay 31.05% ang GP rate natin. So ang cost ratio natin ay 1 minus the GP rate. It's 68.95%. Ayan. So from here, ang total cost natin would be 297,250. Apply na natin lahat ng cost ratio natin times 0.6895. So what's the answer? It's 204,954. Tapos si isa, 165,000 times 0.6895. So that's 113,768. Tapos 119,400 times 0.6895. So that would be 131,281. Parang sobra, no? But let's check. 204,954 plus 113,768 plus 131,281. So the answer is 450,000. Ayan, 450,003. Ayan, pag tinignan po natin yung nauna, siya rin po yun, no? May konting-konting difference lang. So, ibig sabihin, ang constant margin approach ay hindi na ginagamit pag hindi ko na-assess further. Kasi kung ano yung nasa sales value method mo, siya rin po yung lalabas doon. Okay? Kaya, pinakita lang natin why. So, may question po tayo muna before we proceed. Okay. Sir, possible po dito na GP rate is based on cost. Wala namang problema. Kaya lang, para lang consistent tayo kasi ang objective natin ay constant margin approach, and then later on, we are going to multiply to the sales value. Therefore, ang basis po natin ay sales. Di ba? Dito nakasingit yung cost ratio, di ba? Dito yung tatlo na yan. Multiply mo rito. So, dapat sa sales naka-base. Okay? Ayan. Problem number 4. So this one is the problem in the sell as is or process further. So product at run has been allocated 7,500 of total joint cost of 30,000. So hindi na sinabi ko ano pa ibang product, si Katran na lang ang pinag-uusapan. So 7,500 yung kanyang total joint cost. For the 1,500 units produced, 1,500. So units. So hindi na natin pansinin yung iba, ha? So Katran can be sold at the split of point at 4 pesos per unit. So sales value at SOP is 4 pesos per unit. Or it can be processed further with an additional cost of 2,000 pesos. Ano yung additional cost? APC is, hindi naka per unit, diretso na 2,000 pesos. Ayan. And sold for 7 pesos per unit. Yung 7 pesos at 4 pesos parehas na sales value, pero itong 7, ito yung final sales value. Okay? So, ang final sales value mo ay 7. So, ang incremental sales value mo ay 3. O pwede naman na 4 times 1,500, that is 6,000 pesos in total. 7 times 1,500 is 10,500 pesos. You can see here na meron tayong incremental revenue na magkano? 10,500 minus 6,000. So that is 4,500. Magkano yung incremental cost mo? Ito na po yun. Incremental cost po yung additional processing cost. Ayan. So with that, pag kinompare mo incremental revenue at incremental cost ng Katran, makikita mo na ang incremental benefit natin ay 2,500. Ang tanong, if Katran is processed further and sold, the result would be 2,500 na increase in our profit. Okay? So that would be answer for problem number 4. All right. So Let's go to problem number 5. Ay medyo madami lang siya. Kaya lang, yung 1 and 2, iisa lang ang basis, physical units. Physical units, pinaghiwalay lang yung mga products natin. Tapos, yung problem 3, yung 3 and 4, isa lang din yung basis. So parang isang solution lang din tayo kasi pinaghiwalay lang din yung dalawang products natin. And then 5 and 6, different scenarios na. Okay, so let's talk about this in a separate na question. Okay, now, 315 company manufactures 2 products out of a joint process, Compod and Ultrasin. The joint costs incurred are 2.5 million for a standard production run that generates 120,000 gallons of Compod and 8,000 gallons of Ultrasin. So, lagyan na po natin si Compod at Ultrasin. Ayan. And then, ilan po? 120,000 and 80,000 gallons. Yan. Compod sells for 20 pesos per gallon while Ultrasin sells for 32.5. Ang sabi naman sa una ay physical units na. So ito na po mismo, di ba? So 200,000 pesos. Ayan. Ay, gallons rather. So kung alam mo na yung basis, nandiyan na, itabi mo na yung joint cost natin which is 2.5 million. So, what's next? Sabi rito, allocate na natin. 2.5 times 120 over 200. So, that's 1.5 million. Mukhang yan na yung sagot sa number 1. Kasi tinatanong, calculate the amount of joint costs allocated to Compod on a physical unit basis. Ang haba-haba no problem, yun lang pala gagawin natin. So, this is the answer in number 1. Ituloy na natin. 2.5 million times 80 over 200. So, that's 1 million pesos. Okay, and I think this is the question in number 2. Sabi sa number 2, same question, pero ang tanong lang, per unit. Ito po, if there are no additional processing costs incurred after split off point, the cost to produce per unit of Ultrasin on a physical units basis is blank. So balik lang po tayo. Itutuloy po natin ito. So di ba sabi natin, kung walang additional processing cost, the joint cost is already your total cost. So ang unit cost natin would be 1.5 divided by 120,000 gallons. Magkano po yun? 1.5 divided by 120,000 gallons. That's 12.50. Eh ang tanong ay itong Ultrasin talaga. So that would be 1,000 divided by 80, 12.5. Bakit parehas? Kasi based on units po tayo. So ang sagot sa number 1, 1,500 kasi amount of joint costs allocated. Ang sagot sa number 2, it's 12.50 per gallon. Okay, so that's number 2. We will now proceed to items 3 and 4. Sa 3 and 4, yung 3 kasi ang tinatanong, same problem. Tapos no additional processing costs pa rin. Pero we are to calculate the amount of joint costs allocated to Ultrasin sales value basis. Sabi sa number 4, excuse me. Cost to produce each unit lang. So ang gawin na lang natin, completein natin hanggang unit cost ng parehas na product. Okay? So dito na lang tayo sa number 4 sumagot. So we have Compod and Ultrasin. Si Compod, 120,000 units and 80,000 units. And after that, gallons, gallons tayo. Gallons. Alright. So, sales value. Dilagay natin ng sales value. Magkano si Compod? 20. Magkano Ultrasin? 32.50. So magkano total sales value? It's 2.4 million. Magkano rito? It's 2.6 million. So total sales value na basis ng allocation natin is 5 million pesos. Kung alam mo na yung basis, itabi na ang joint cost. Magkano joint cost? 2.5 million. Oops! 2.5 times 24 over 5,000. That's 1.2 million. For the other one, it's 2.5 times 26 over 5,000. So that would be 1.3 million. Yun na po yung joint cost natin. So ang tanong sa joint cost ay si ultrasin. So ang sagot sa number 3 ay 1.3 million. Number 3, 1.3 million pesos. Number 4, ang tanong po sa atin ay cost to produce each unit of compod. Again, no additional processing cost. Therefore, this is already the total cost. Thus, the unit cost is how much? Kunin na natin sa parehas. Si compod lang unahin natin. So, 1.2 over 120,000. So, ibig sabihin, 10 pesos per gallon ang unit cost natin. But for ultrasin, it's 1.3 divided by 80,000. That is 16.25 pesos per gallon ng ultrasin. So, ang sagot sa number 4, ay ito na pala, is 10 pesos per gallon. Yan. So we will now proceed to number 5. Same problem, pero may konting twist lang doon sa naka-blue na font. So suppose that the following additional processing costs are required beyond the split of points. So you really have to process further. So ibig sabihin, itong 20 at 32.5 is the final sales value after you process further. So ang gagawin po natin, so we have compod and ultrasin. So 120,000 and 80,000. Ang gamit po natin ay Nrv. So ibig sabihin, final sales value minus the additional processing cost. So ang sales value po natin ay 20 and 32.5. Yung kanina pong sagot, it's 2.4 million and 2.6 million. Okay, hindi naman siya yung basis natin kahit di na natin i-total. We need the additional processing cost. Magkano kay compod? Sabi niya, 1 peso per gallon for compod, so piso. And 11 pesos per gallon for ultrasin. Ayan. So magkano yung total nun? So it's 120,000 pesos plus 11 times 80,000, that's 880,000 pesos. So therefore, ang additional processing cost ay 1 million. Hindi naman yan yung basis. So huwag na natin i-total. Yung basis na lang i-total natin yung Nrv. Wala namang cost of sales. So siya na yan. So 2.4 minus 120,000. So that would be 2,280. Ayan po. So 2.6 million minus 880,000. So that would be 1,720,000. Ayan. So ang total Nrv, total na natin kasi ito na yung basis natin, 4 million. Ayan. So calculate the amount of joint cost allocated to compod. So ang joint cost natin ay magkano? It's 2.5 million. Allocate natin accordingly. So 2.5 million times 2,280 divided by 4 million. So that's 1,425,000. And then the other one, it's 2.5 million times 1,720 over 4 million. That would be 1,075,000. Ang sagot, calculate the amount of joint cost allocated to compod. So the answer is 1,425,000. So that's number 5. Okay. Let's go to number 6. Ayan, humaba lang ng konti istorya. So additional processing costs again required beyond the split of point. So in order to obtain compod and ultrasin, 1 peso per gallon for compod and 11 pesos per gallon for ultrasin. So parehas pa rin. Okay, so gawin po natin compod, ultrasin. Kaya lang, tingnan po yung kasunod ha. Suppose also that compod can be processed further into a product called compodalin at an additional cost of 4 pesos per gallon. So nandun pala tayo sa point of view na balik tayo, ito na po yung starting point natin na may joint cost na po tayo kay compod at saka kay ultrasin. Ngayon, ang kailangan po natin, mula kay compod, ipaprocess natin at magiging compodalin po tayo. Now, ang tanong dito, sabi rito, may sinabi pa, the distributor's commission will be 10% of the sales price. Ang tanong, should 315 sell Compod or Compodalin? So wag na natin isama si Ultraseed. Okay? So sa Compod kasi, ano ba ang meron tayo sa Compod? Hindi na natin, di ba sabi natin, joint costs are sunk costs. Hindi na po natin kasama sa decision natin kung ipaprocess natin further to make it Compodalin or sell as is na Compod lang siya. So ang gagawin po natin dito sa 120,000 na Compod na pinag-uusapan natin na maging Compodalin. No? Magkano ba yung magiging magkano ba yung sales value niya ngayon? 'Di ba 20? 20 po yung sales value. Magkano ba yung additional processing cost just in case gagawin mo siyang Compodalin? Diba sabi niya additional cost of 4 pesos. Ayan, additional processing cost. Ano pang kailangan natin dito? Meron pong cost to sell na sinabi. Nasaan yun, no? Distributor's commission will be 10% of the sales price. Magkano po yun? 10% ng sales price natin. Magkano po ba yung sales price natin ngayon? 26. So 2.6, no? So ang sales value, final sales value natin po ay magkano? 26. So pinakita lang natin mga per unit. Nilalagay ko lang ng line para sa tabi yung total. So pwede rin naman na per unit yung gamitin natin. So makikita po natin dito na incremental revenue natin, revenue na lang gamitin natin. Incremental revenue natin ay 26 minus yung 20 na sales value ni Compod. So 6 pesos per unit ang incremental revenue. Ang incremental cost natin na i-consider natin ay hindi lang itong additional processing cost na 4 pesos dahil may incidental cost pa tayo na 2.6 kaya 6.6. Kaya naman, benefit kung positive, disadvantage kung negative. Anong meron tayo? It's a disadvantage na 0.6. Why? Mas malaki pa yung madadagdag na cost kesa sa revenue na madadagdag sa'yo. Therefore, anong sagot natin? Anong ibebenta natin? Multiply po natin ito ng ilang units. Or ilang galas? 120,000. 72,000. If we sell Compodalin, mababawasan tayo ng 72,000 sa profit. Therefore, we are going to sell Compod because of the net advantage of 72,000. Okay? So that's the answer in number 6. Dito po, puro incremental lang yung pinag-uusapan natin. So, you have to check ano-ano yung mga costs na mai-incur if you are going to process further. Pero, ano magbabago sa sales value? Mula sa 20 ay naging 26. Kunin yung difference, 6. Kunin yung total na additional processing cost and CTS, cost to sell, 6.6. Therefore, mas okay na ibenta mo na lang yung Compod. Okay? May question po tayo. Yan. Sir, disregard na po ba yung piso na APC? Okay. Kasi po, yung piso na APC, balik po tayo. Ayan, yung piso na APC is until such time na makuha mo yung joint cost. Remember, you are required to process further in number 5. Dito sa first part, required to process further ng piso and 11. Ibig sabihin, whatever happens, may incur mo na yun. Ang pinag-uusapan lang naman, at saka yung piso na to, part siya ng Compod talaga. So pag nakaraan na, part na ng Compod, na-allocate na sa kanya yung piso na yon, doon na lang tayo sa mula Compod ay magiging Compodalin. Compodalin yung ibebenta natin. So ang nadagdag lang mula Compod to Compodalin ay yung 4 pesos na additional processing cost. So mag-ingat po pag maraming additional processing cost na pinag-uusapan kung nasan yung part na yon. Kasi sabi dito, required beyond the split off point. So therefore, that's already part of your cost of Compod, yung piso na yon. Kasi whether you produce Compod or Compodalin, that piso, that joint cost, itong piso na yan will be part of the 2 products. Kaya kapag parehas na part ng 2 products na yan, so ano na po siya? irrelevant sa decision natin. Alright? So I hope I was able to answer your question. Okay naman na daw. Okay, so that's good. So let's move to problem number 6. Naku, pasensya na. Marami-rami tayong di-discuss talaga today. Konti na lang. Problem 6. So we have here 3 questions. Yung joint cost ng product cryptide. Ito kasi yung minsan yung mga examiners, ginagawa nila, pag pinaprocess further, naiiba na yung pangalan. Lalo na kasi yun ba, kung saleable at split of point, iba yung product. No pre-process further, naiba yung product. So iba yung pangalan nun. So yun naman yung mukhang mas makatotohanan, no? Kaya nga, in this problem, ganun yung nangyari. So 317 Chemical Company, wait lang. Dito na tayo sa next slide para masagot na natin yung number 1. Okay. So 317 Chemical Company manufactures 2 industrial chemical products in a joint process. So in May, 10,000 gallons of input. Input pa lang yung pinag-uusapan na. Costing 60,000 were processed at cost of 150,000. So ano napansin nyo dito sa 60,000 at 150,000? Ito po yung ating joint cost. Diba? So DM is 60,000. Conversion cost per process at 150,000. Therefore, ang joint cost natin ay 210,000. Ayan. So going back, the joint process resulted in 8,000 pounds of Resolene and 2,000 pounds of crypto. Yan pa lang yung products natin. Okay, so we have, sulat na natin, Resolene. Parang pangalan lang ng mga tao, no? And crypto. Ayan. So ilang kay Resolene? 8,000. And then sa crypto, 2,000 pounds. Okay? So yung weight na na-produce. And then Resolene sells at 25 per pound. Kasi net Nrv po ang gamit natin, kaya po ilalagay na natin. So Resolene sells at 25 per pound while crypto sells for 50 per pound. So management generally process each of these chemicals further. Processes each of these chemicals further in separable processes to produce more refined chemicals. So yung Resolene, pag pre-process further, at cost of 5 pesos, that would result to Resolite na ibebenta ng 35. So naiba lang yung pangalan. So ulitin lang natin, lagay lang natin yung mga data natin. So sales value at split of point, magkano si Resolene? 25, si crypto 50. Lagyan lang natin ng unit selling price at saka total. So 8,000 times 25, that's 200,000. Ito naman ay 100,000, ba? Yan. Tapos additional processing cost, magkano? 5 pesos kay Resolene. Kay crypto, magkano? 15 pesos. Ayan. Magkano yung total nun? 5 times 8,000, that's 40,000. Magkano kay crypto? 15 times 2,000, so that's 30. Tama ba yung aking math? Hindi pa ba tayong doon? 30,000. Ayan. Okay, additional processing cost. Pero ang final sales value, kasi magiging Resolite and cryptide na yung isang product. So ang sales value niyan, final sales value would be magkano kay Resolite? 35. Kay cryptide, 95. Ayan. So yan po yung naging data natin. So ang tanong po ay Nrv method. So the joint cost of product cryptide using the Nrv method would be how much? So magkano po yung final sales value natin? So that would be 35 times 8,000. 35 times 8,000. Ay, but 35 times 8,000. So that would be 280,000. Yun. Tapos 95 times 2,000. So that's 190,000. Yan ang final sales value. Ito na ba yung basis natin? No, kasi NRV. So dapat final sales value minus the additional processing cost. So ang NRV natin ay magkano po ito? 280 minus 40, it's 240,000. Okay? And then, excuse me. So 190 minus 30,000, it's 160,000. So ang ating NRV, tama ba yung math natin? Ang ating NRV ay 400,000. Ayan, so NRV. So magkano na po yung joint cost na i-allocate natin? 210,000, right? So kinulang ng konti, lagay lang po natin NRV. We have Resolite and Cryptite. So 240,000 and this is 160,000. Ayan. And this is 400,000. So joint cost natin, magkano joint cost? 210,000. So paki-allocate na lang. So 210 times 240 divided by 400. So that would be 126,000. And then for Cryptite, that would be 210,000 times 160 over 400. Magkano allocated? Is 84,000. So the joint cost of the product Cryptite using the net realizable value method would be 84,000. So that's the answer in number 1. Okay. So anong tanong sa number 2? What is the cost to produce each unit of Resolite? So balik lang po tayo. Unit cost po ang tinatanong. Joint cost pa lang po itong meron tayo, di ba? So sabi natin, pag unit cost ang tanong at pre-process further, idadagdag mo yung APC. Idugtong na lang po natin dito, although nasa taas na. It's 40,000 kay Resolene and 30,000 kay Crypto. So ang total manufacturing cost would be 166,000 for Resolite and 30 times plus 84, it's 114,000 for Cryptite. So 280,000. Pwede mo din ma-check yan. 70,000 plus 210, it's 280,000. Ang tanong ay unit cost ni Resolite. So 166,000. Divide natin ng ilang pounds ba meron ng Resolite. It's 8,000 pa rin. So divided by 8,000, so that would be 20.75. Si Cryptite naman, 114,000 divided by 2,000. So that would be 57 per gallon. Or per pound rather, 57 per pound. Pero ang answer natin sa number 2 would be, magkano ulit? 20.75 per pound. Ayan, so that's number 2. Ano naman tinanong sa number 3? Naku, pre-process pa further itong number 3. So assume that 317 Chemical Companies Management is considering an opportunity to process Cryptite further into new product called Omega. So ito yung parang kanina na since may Cryptite na, nag-solve na tayo hanggang Cryptite at saka Resolite. Hindi, kapag mag-iisip tayo kung ipaprocess natin further si Cryptite to make it Omega this time, doon na lang tayo sa mga ma-incur natin or ma-generate natin further. Yung mga incremental revenue or incremental na cost tayo natin. So si Cryptite, process further, anong nangyari? Cryptite magiging Omega. Ayan. So anong meron sa Cryptite and Omega? So the separable processing cost is 40 per pound. So meron tayo additional processing cost. So ano po muna tayo? So Cryptite. Ano muna yung sales value ni Cryptite? Magkano yung sales value ni Cryptite? 95, right? Yan. Tapos Pag pre-process further, magkakaroon ng additional processing cost, which is, sabi dito ay 40. Ito. And packaging costs for Omega are projected to be 6 per pound. So hindi na siya 40, madadagdagan pa siya ng 6. So 46 na yung additional processing cost. Okay? And the anticipated sales price, so ang final sales value natin, which is Omega na ang pinag-uusapan, ay 130 pesos per pound. Ngayon, ang tanong, magkano po yung incremental na revenue natin? Naka per unit or per pound naman tayo, so pwede naman na per pound muna ang isolve natin. 130 minus 95. Ilan po yung 130 minus 95? 130 minus 95. So that would give us, bakit ganun? 35 na incremental revenue. Ang incremental cost natin magkano? 40 plus 6, 46. Mukhang obvious na kung ano ang dapat natin i-produce at ibenta. Kasi meron na naman tayong disadvantage na magkano? 11. Mas malaki pa yung incremental cost kaysa sa madadagdag na revenue. Therefore, process cryptite. Bakit? May net advantage po na ilan? Multiply po natin. Ilang cryptite ba yung pinag-uusapan natin? Di ba 2,000? So times 11, 22,000. So there is net advantage of 22,000 if we process cryptite instead of the Omega. Okay. Question so far? Ilagay sa chat box. Kung wala, we will proceed to problem number 7. Okay, so problem number 7, Molar Corporation manufactures a product that yields the byproduct JEP. So the only costs associated with JEP are selling costs of 0.10 for each unit sold. Molar accounts for sales of JEP by deducting JEP separable costs from JEP sales and then deducting this net amount from the major products cost of goods sold. Mukhang alam niyo na kung anong method yung ginagamit natin, ha? Ayan. So JEP sales were 200,000 units at 1 peso each. So if Molar changes its method of accounting for JEP sales of showing the net amount as additional sales revenue, the Molar's gross margin would blank. Okay? So may I request for 5-minute na break? Pa-pause lang po muna. Tapos yung 5 minutes po na yun, please take your time in solving this problem. Thank you. Word natin. Alright, so parang sinabi dito sa problem na to, we are accounting for the 200,000 units na byproducts. Tapos yung byproduct na yan, na-produce natin, tapos nabenta rin natin yung 200,000 units. Parang gusto lang niya sabihin, if Molar changes its method of accounting for the byproduct sales of showing the net amount as additional sales revenue, ano mangyayari sa gross margin natin? Kasi sabi dito sa isa, di ba, kapag production method at sales method, sabi dito sa production method, magiging reduction sa cost of goods sold, right? Sales minus cost of goods sold, we have the gross margin or gross profit. Ito yung tinitingnan natin. Okay? Oops, may nag-chat. Tingnan natin. Increase ba, sir, ng 180,000? Okay, tingnan po natin. So sales natin, oops, meron pa uli nag-chat. Tingnan natin bago natin sagutin. Meron 180,000. Ayan, tingnan po natin, ha. So sabi rito, 200,000 po kasi at 1 peso yung ating proceeds sa yung ating JEP sales for the byproducts. JEP sales for the byproducts. JEP na yung byproduct. Pero syempre, meron tayong selling cost na 0.10. So 200,000 units times piso minus the 0.10, no? So ibig sabihin 180,000 po. Yan po yung net proceeds natin. Pero ang tanong lang po dito, The only cost associated nga na ay 0.10. Sabi rito, yung una, Moller accounts for sales of JEP by deducting JEP's separable cost from JEP's sales and then deducting this net amount from the major products cost of goods sold. Naka-minus dito yung 180,000. Diba? Wag na talaga nito. Naka-minus po dito. So ang effect po niyan would be ang gross profit mo ay madadagdagan ng 180,000. Tama po? Ayan. Sabi rito sa dulo, if Moller changes its method of accounting, gagawin na natin, sabi na ganito, for JEP sales of showing the net amount as additional sales revenue. So, instead of that, dito sa taas, nagdagdag tayo ng 180,000. Hindi na tayo nag-minus sa cost of goods sold. Ano ang gross margin natin? It's also 180,000. Tingnan ko nga, may nagpahabol. Ayun, may nag-chat sa akin, Sir, no changes ba? The answer is correct. Unaffected. Kasi nabenta yung 200,000 units. Kahit po magkaiba yung method natin, at the end of the day, parehas po yung pinakailalim natin. Kasi yung isa, minus mo sa cost of goods sold, yung isa, inad mo sa sales natin. So ang effect natin, sa gross margin, parehas po na 180,000. So, unaffected po nung binago yung method. Unless, hindi po nabenta in the same period na na-produce siya. Baka magkaroon ng changes for that particular period. Pero, kung nangyari at the same time, tas binago mo, dapat parehas lang po ang lalabas sa atin. Sir, pero reality po, di ba, meron. Tulad nga nasabi ko, halimbawa, first week of the month, na-produce mo na. Tapos, nabenta mo rin the following week. Pag na-record mo, in that particular month, wala pong difference sa gross profit. Pero the moment na ni-record mo siya, kasi sinabi niya na benta din yung 200,000, wala po talagang difference. Halimbawa, month 1, month 2, naka-production method ka. Kung sakali na tumawid sa month 2 yung sales natin, tapos nagbago tayo ng method natin, for a certain time or period, may konting changes. Pero automatically, later on, it will correct itself. Na hinihintay mo lang naman na mabenta. Kumbaga ito, nakadeduct agad sa cost of goods sold. Dito sa kabilang side, hinihintay mo lang mabenta. Pero i-add mo rin naman talaga yan eventually. Yung timing lang ang magkaiba. Pero sabi ko nga sa problem na to, since nangyari in the same month na na-produce at nabenta siya, wala pong difference yung gross margin natin. Sorry. Alright, problem number 8. Oh, sorry. Wait lang. Any question before I proceed with to problem number 8? May question ba? Okay, so again, kung may question po na pahabol man, kung sakali, ilagay lang po sa chat box natin. Kung wala, we will proceed to problem number 8. Okay. Itong mga items na to, ito mismo yung mga binigay ko na exam sa mga estudyante ko before. So, going back, problem 8. So, 313 Incorporated produces joint products X and Y together with the byproduct W. So product X is sold at split of point, but Y and W, o si byproduct, kailangan i-undergo ng additional process. So production data pertaining to these products for the year ended June 30, 2015 are as follows. Ayan. So for X, Y, and W, meron po tayong joint cost na ito po. Naka-breakdown lang into variable and fixed, pero total joint cost natin ay 236,000. Separable cost. So, ang meron na tayong separable cost or additional processing cost, Y and W. Pero si W ay byproduct. Okay. Produce in pounds. So 50, 40, and 10. Pero again, walang ma-allocate sa 10. Only sa 50 at saka sa 40. Walang ma-allocate na joint cost dyan. Instead, ito ay either ima-minus mo sa cost natin or ignore mo na at hintayin mong mabenta. So tingnan natin sasabihin ng problem. There are no beginning and ending inventories. So yung sales natin at produce, parehas lang. So no materials are spoiled in production. Joint costs are allocated to joint products to achieve the same gross profit percentage. So alam na natin kung anong method? Yung constant margin approach. For each joint product, net revenue from byproduct W is deducted from production cost of the main product. So ibig sabihin, production method tayo kay byproduct. At ang gagawin natin, i-deduct natin sa joint cost. Punta tayo sa next slide. So determine muna natin yung joint cost. Determine daw natin yung joint cost share of product Y. So how do we do that? And alamin muna natin, magkano ba yung joint cost na i-allocate natin in the first place? So yung joint cost muna natin would be how much? Di ba initially itong dalawa na to, magkano po ito? 236,000. Pero si product W, anong meron sa kanya? Di ba 10,000 units ang na-produce kay W? Multiply po natin ng 1.1. Ayan. Meron pa ba? Meron pa ba tayong ima-minus? Meron po kasing separable cost, si W. So, ibig sabihin, ima-minus pa po natin yung 5,000 pesos na yan. Kaya naman, ang proceeds natin kay W is only, so 11,000 minus 5,000, that is 6,000 pesos. Kaya, ang joint cost na adjusted natin to be allocated is 230,000 pesos only. Reduced by the net proceeds of your product W or byproduct W. Now, so solve na natin si X at saka si Y. So, X and Y, ang weight po natin kay X and Y, nakalagay po dito 50,000 and 40,000 respectively. 50,000, 40,000. Ang gagamitin po natin ay constant margin approach. Now, if constant margin approach is used, tulad sabi natin, sales minus total cost is your gross profit. Kunin ang GP rate, kunin ang cost ratio. At itong cost ratio na gagawin natin, i-multiply sa sales value ng bawat product. Kunin na muna natin yung sales value ng bawat product. So, magkano ba ang bentahan ni X? 4. Magkano ang bentahan ng Y? 7.5. So, ang sales value natin ay 200,000 at saka 300,000. Yan. Okay. So, what's next? Ito rin po yung sales natin dito. Total of 500,000. Magkano total cost ang meron tayo? Una, yung joint cost natin. Magkano yung joint cost natin? It's 230,000. 230,000. Plus, yung additional processing cost natin. Ano yung additional processing cost natin? Ito na lang po. Ito na lang po. Kasi na-minus na natin itong 5,000. So that's 210,000. Ayan. So ang total cost natin would be the joint cost and the additional processing cost of the major products, and then that would be 440,000. So ang GP natin ay 60,000. Ang GP rate natin would be ilang percent to? 12%. Ayan. So sabi lang naman natin GP rate. So ang basis ay sales. So 60 over 500. So ang cost ratio natin ay 88%. So ang gagawin natin, multiply natin cost ratio. 88% parehas ng sales value ng bawat product. So with that, ang total cost natin ay 88% times 200,000. Magkano po yun? 176,000. And then 88% of 300,000, that's 264,000. So ang total cost natin ay 440,000. Kamukha lang po ng total cost dito. Okay? Eh, joint cost ang tinatanong, magkano daw ang joint cost ni Y? So, anong gagawin natin? I-minus natin yung additional processing cost. Si X kasi, wala namang additional processing cost. Pero si Y, ang additional processing cost niya ay ito, 210,000 pesos. Therefore, ang joint cost allocated to X, 176,000. Ang joint cost allocated to Y, it's 54,000. Okay? So, ang answer po dito ay 54,000. The joint cost share of product Y. Tanong sabi rito, the cost to produce each unit of product X. Balik na tayo sa slide na to. Unit cost pala ang tinatanong. Hindi mo na kailangan mag-solve pa uli na total cost plus APC kasi actually residual na nga yung joint cost. Kaya itong total cost na mismo. So 176 divided by, ilan po ba? 50,000. So the answer is 3.52 per pound. Yan ang ating unit cost of product X. Kunin na rin natin si product Y. 264,000 divided by 40,000. So that would be 6.60. So pero ang answer sa number 2 would be 3.52 per pound. Okay? Ayan. So that's a constant margin approach. I think we're down to the last problem. Yan, last na po ito. Konting-konti na lang. Okay? So, sabi dito, haba nung sinabi, pero ano ba muna ang tanong? Gamitin natin yung physical measure at saka Nrv method to compute for the following. Nung una, ang pinapakompute yung cost to produce each unit of product L. Tapos, the cost of product J sold for the year ended and the cost of ending inventory of product K. So we have J, K, and L na products. Yan. So dito po tayo mag-solve. So una po natin gamitin ay physical measure. Tapos solve po natin lahat ng yon. Okay, so we have products J, K, and L. So produce. Ang kailangan natin. Kasi dito sa problem na to, so sige basahin po muna natin. HBD company buys article RS for 5.6 per unit. At the end of the processing in department 1, article RS is split into products J, K, and L. So input pala si article RS. So ang ating major products are J, K, and L. Product J is sold at split off. So agad-agad pala nabebenta na siya. With no further processing. K and L require further processing before they can be sold. So, the Department 1 daw po, dito pinaprocess yung article RS para mag-split into JKL. Ibig sabihin, itong part na to, ito pala yung joint cost natin. Tapos sabi po dito, K is processed in Department 2. So para mabenta siya. So ibig sabihin, ito pala yung additional processing cost ni K. Si L is processed in Department 3. Ibig sabihin, ito yung APC or additional processing cost ni L. Alright. And the following is a summary of costs and other related data for the year ended July 31, 2014. Okay, so let's solve for this one. Produce ang kailangan natin. Sabi dito, ang sold ay 750. Ang on hand at the end of the period ay 375. Tapos ito yung sales natin in terms of pesos, syempre. Okay. Okay. So ngayon, ang tanong, how do we get the units produced? Wala pong sinabi na tungkol sa beginning inventory natin. Ang sinabi lang po ay ending at saka yung sold. So, since walang sinabi, or dapat dito, sinabi siguro na this is the first year of the operation, or ito po ay the beginning inventory is 0. Okay, so in that case, beginning plus produced minus ending is equal to sold. So, kung beginning ay 0, ibig sabihin ang produce ay sold plus ending. So, kaya naman pala, ito yung sold, ito yung ending, So 750 plus 375, ang product J natin ay 1,125,000 units. Ang product A natin ay 1125 plus 112,500, 1,237,500 units. And then for product L, it's 2,250,000 units. Add lang po natin yung dalawa to arrive at the number of units produced. Physical measure po pinag-usapan. So ito na po yung physical measure natin. Joint cost po. Magkano po yung joint cost natin? Magkano ba yung sum ng joint cost natin dito? That is 12,600,000. Pag in-add po natin yung nasa Department 1. Okay? Remember, after Department 1, tsaka pa lang mag-split yung J, K, and L. So joint cost natin ay 12,600,000. Yeah, so magkano kay J? 12,600 minus 1125 minus times 1125 over magkano po ba ang total units produced? It's 4,612,500. So pa-allocate na lang. 12,600 times 1125 over 4,612,500. So the answer is 3,073,171. So I hope tama uli yung mga math natin. Medyo titingnan nyo po na konti. And then 12,600 times 1,237,500 over 4,612,500. So that's 3,380. 488. Ayan. 12,600 times 2,250 over 4,612,500. It's 6,146,341. Ang tanong po ay unit cost ni L. Susulat po natin si L unit cost. Kay K ano ang tanong? Ay kay K tama, kay J naman cost of product J sold. So COGS ang tanong kay it should be J. COGS ang tanong kay J, cost of goods sold. Kay K ang tanong ay ending inventory. So kay K ang tanong ay ending inventory. So gawin na lang natin lahat yung COGS, yung total cost, yung ending at saka yung unit cost natin. Now, so para makuha po natin yung total manufacturing cost, i-add po natin additional processing cost, di ba? For J, wala kasi hindi naman ipa-process further. For K, magkano additional processing cost? Yung nasa Department 2. Magkano po additional processing cost? It's 6,633,000. Ayan, that's for K. And for L, yung Department 3 naman. So that's 11,025,000. So that's the total processing cost. I-add na lang natin para lang makita natin, mabalas natin. 17,658,000. Ayan. And then total manufacturing cost. So from here, you can compute. So TMC, 3,073,171. Okay. And then 6,633 plus joint cost na 3,380,488. So that's 10,013,488. And for product L, it's 17,171,341. So therefore, the total manufacturing cost is 30,258,00. Okay. Next, unit cost. Kan ba unit cost natin? For product J, it's 3,073,171 divided by 1,125, so that's 2.73 approximately. Then for this one, 10,013,488 divided by 1,237,500, so that's 8.09. And then for the last one, unit cost 7.63. Paano nakuha? 17,171,341 divided by 2,250,000. So it's 7.63. So yan po yung unit cost natin. So nasagot natin yung kay L. Unit cost ng L ay 7.63. Tinatanong ay ending. Ilagay na po natin yung ending inventory. How do we get the ending inventory? Ni K. How do we get the ending inventory ni K? Ang units on hand ni K noong July 31, 2014 ay 112,500. Multiply lang ito na 112,500. So we'll get, nasa ba yun? 112,500 times 8.09. So the answer is 910,125. So that's the ending inventory ng K. Ang sumunod kay J naman, cost of goods sold ni J, di ba? Ang sold ni J ay ilan? 750,000. So multiply natin ng 750,000 assuming nakamukha lang din ang unit cost natin ngayon yung unit cost natin nung nakaraan. So 2.73 times 750,000. So the answer is 2,047,500. Okay? Ayan. Yan po yung tatlong tanong sa atin, pero in this one, physical measure yung ginamit natin. Okay, the last one I think. Ang gagamitin nga lang natin ay, ano yung pangalawang method na require sa atin? The Nrv method. Okay, so let's use the Nrv method for products J, K, and L. So alam na natin kung ilan sila. So, oops, nawala. Oh, last na pala to, wait lang ha. So for J, K, and L. So we have here 1125 and 123,700. And this one is 2250. Ito yung units natin produced. Okay. And then sales value po tayo. Final sales value natin. Magkano sales value natin? Walang binigay na selling price per unit pero may sales po tayo at unit sold dito. So from here, 3,150 divided by 750, magkano itong product J? 4.2. Paki-double check po 10,080,000 divided by 1,125. Ang cost na, ang selling price ay 8.96. Tapos sa product L, 14,883,750 divided by 1,687,500, it's 8.82. So sana tama naman tayo, no? So 4.2, 8.96, 8.82. So ang sales value po natin ay 4,725,000 for J, 11,088,000 for K, and 19,845,000 for L. Kinuha muna natin yung final sales value ng mga yan. Di ba NRV tayo? So susunod natin, ima-minus natin yung additional processing cost. Wala kay J, di ba? Tapos 6,633, ay 6 million pala, 633,000 kay K, and 11,025,000 kay L. Di ba? It's 17,658. Tinotal lang. So ang NRV natin would be in difference ng dalawa. So 4,725 si J, and then 4,455 kay K, and then 8,820,000 kay L. Minus lang natin. So total NRV, ito na po yung basehan natin, 18 million. Ayan. Tapos ang joint cost natin ay 12,600,000, di ba? So allocate natin joint cost based on the NRV of each product. So 472,500 times 4,725 pala times 12,6 over 18,000. So ang joint cost natin kay J ay 3,307,500. Ayan. And then for K, 4,455 times 12,6 divided by 18,000. So that would be 3,118,500. And then for L, 8,820 times 12,6 divided by 18,000. So ang answer natin ay 6,174,000. Ayan. Joint cost po. And tinatanong ay unit cost, etc. So dito, kunin natin yung total cost natin. Ang total cost po natin ay for product J, ito na mismong joint cost natin, di ba? 3,307,500. 500. Pero for product K na may additional processing cost, so 3,118 plus 6,633. So that would be 9,751,500, di ba? And 6,174 plus 11 million, that's 17,199,000 para naman kay product L. So ang total na manufacturing cost natin ay 30,258,000. Yan po. So ang unit cost natin, kunin na natin. So the total cost divided by the number of units sold. 3,307,500 divided by 1,125, it's 2.94. And then for K, it's 9,751,500 divided by 1,237,500 units, it's 7.88. And finally, for letter L, product L, 17,199,000 divided by 2,250,000 units. So that would be 7.644 na unit cost. And I think for number 1, ang tanong ay unit cost ng L. So number 1, ang unit cost ng L ay 7.644. Nabigay na po dito sa ating table. Okay, for number 2, ang tanong po sa atin ay kay product J, yung cost of goods sold. Ilan ba yung sold ni product J? So multiply lang po natin ng 1,687,500 units. So therefore, ang cost of goods sold kay product J ay 4,961,250. Okay, dito ko lang sinusulat sa left side. And lastly, ang tinatanong naman po ay kay product K. Ending inventory ng product K, 112,500. Multiply natin sa unit cost ni K times 112,500. So what would be our answer? So that would be 886,500 pesos. Ayan. So that would be for joint cost. That would be for problem number 9. The answer is for problem number 9. Okay. All right. So that would be the end of our discussion for the allocation of joint costs and the accounting for byproducts. So I hope you have learned something from our discussion today, and we can now end the recording. Thank you.